So the USA World Food Program says 783 million people worldwide live hungry. That's one in every 10 people go to sleep hungry every night. And this is a problem as of today. Now, let's go back 100 years ago, 40s, 50s, 60s. It was a huge problem. And there was a guy, Nobel Peace Prize winning guy named Norman Borlaug, invented hybrid wheat seeds and synthetic nitrogen fertilizer to help combat this issue. During this time, what they called the Green Revolution was a time of huge agricultural information boom. There was a lot of advancements going on, and Norman spearheaded most of these advancements, mainly them being the hybrid wheat seeds and the synthetic nitrogen fertilizer. Now, this stuff is important to me because I am in school as a plant and soil scientist, and I work for a soil scientist, and we go around and check soils for land development. So this topic is pretty close to my heart and definitely is important to me. Now, moving on to his hybrid wheat seeds, Norman went to Mexico in the 50s. During this time, Mexico had a problem growing wheat. And if you didn't know, wheat is used for pretty much everything food related. And the fact that they couldn't produce their own wheat in the numbers that they wanted to, famine was striking. I mean, it was a really bad deal. So Norman went to Mexico and took different seeds from different parts of the countries and created what he called his semi-dwarf hybrid wheat seed. And this was a wheat seed that could grow short to the ground, and the stalk of the plant was thick enough to hold the grain at the top of the plant. So another problem that Mexico had was their wheat would grow too tall, and the grains at the top would fall over onto their side. And that's called lodging. So that being their biggest problem, and Norman being a plant geneticist, he figured out that he could take seeds from a variety of wheat from Japan and then a variety closer around in that area and cross them together to create this hybrid wheat variety. And he took this wheat variety and went all over the world with it, mainly India and Pakistan. Now, if you can see my graph, you'll see where in the 40s and 50s, the wheat yield in Mexico was very low. We actually have Mexico and India here. Now, when you hit, it says the first high yielding release in Mexico, this was around 1955. You see where the trend goes up. That's after they started using Norman's new hybrid wheat seed, and it continues to go up. At the end here, it says 2010, but it keeps going past that. So Mexico and India definitely was helped with this new wheat seed. And, it completely changed how Mexico and India would go about their agricultural industry. Now, moving on, those hybrid wheat seeds needed high levels of nitrogen fertilizer to be produced. And the nitrogen fertilizer back in the day was more of an organic based versus synthetic based, which is what we use today. So another thing that Norman did is he created or helped create a process called the Haber-Bosch process, which produced over 80 tons of nitrogen during this time. So he went around in Mexico and India trying to get farmers to use this new synthetic nitrogen, which didn't really take for a while. Farmers didn't like the idea of spraying liquid synthetic nitrogen fertilizer all over their plants. But once he got everybody to do it and they saw the advancement in it, it took off. And that completely changed how farmers would go about farming. Now, this next graph shows that. You see in the red here, it says the population fed by synthetic nitrogen fertilizers. And then below it, you see population supported without synthetic nitrogen fertilizers. And there's a huge gap. So if you don't follow the red and you follow the trend in the gray, we're at 4 billion people in this world. Now, if you go all the way up to the red at the very top, it shows the 7.5 in that time in 2015 people in this world. So you have about 4 billion people that are being fed by nitrogen extra than if we did not have the synthetic nitrogen. So that shows that new form of nitrogen was pretty important. I mean, we wouldn't be able to feed the world the way we do without this new method that Norman helped create. Um, you know, I touched on Norman's use of synthetic nitrogen fertilizer and hybrid wheat seeds. These help maintain healthy farms from Mexico and India. And with his work, this helped him get a Nobel Peace Prize. Norman believed that widespread hunger was a thing of the past. And even though we still deal with this today, his advancements set the tone for the entire agricultural industry, even up until today.